Welcome back to the battle between Dr. Manhattan versus Freddy Krueger and who will win. Before we dive deep into the analysis, please remember to subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you very much.
Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen is a unique superhero figure. Before becoming that powerful entity, he was Jon Osterman, an atomic physicist devoted to science. In 1959, a horrific laboratory accident completely disintegrated his body, and from those ashes, a new existence was reborn. No longer bound by the biological structure of a human being, Jon Osterman stepped into a nearly godlike plane of existence. Dr. Manhattan is the only character in the world of Watchmen who truly possesses transcendent power. He can manipulate matter, control energy, and most importantly, perceive time in a way humans cannot comprehend. For him, the past, present, and future are not separate but coexist in a single eternal moment. That ability gradually distances him from human emotion. Love, fear, and loss become insignificant under the detached gaze of such an entity. What defines Dr. Manhattan is not merely infinite power, but absolute solitude. The more he understands the structure of the universe, the more he recognizes the fragility of humanity and loses his connection to it. Does ultimate power equate to happiness, or does it simply push a soul away from the very species it once belonged to? The abilities and power of Dr. Manhattan are considered the absolute pinnacle, an entity capable of touching the deepest essence of the universe. Dr. Manhattan has the ability to manipulate reality at the highest level. He can alter the structure of the world, create or erase entire universes, and even the multiverse with mere thought. Time is no longer linear to him, allowing him to observe and intervene in any moment without being limited by conventional order. At the microscopic level, Dr. Manhattan controls matter and energy down to each atom. He can disintegrate a person in an instant, reconstruct matter from nothingness, generate immense energy, or split into multiple versions of himself simultaneously. Death holds no meaning, because even if completely destroyed, he can reconstruct his body from the air itself. Dr. Manhattan possesses physical strength beyond all standards, the ability to fly, teleport instantly, and manipulate minds. He can read thoughts, move objects with his will, and exist in multiple places at the same time. He does not need to eat, breathe, or sleep, standing beyond all biological needs of humanity. It is precisely this omnipotence that makes Dr. Manhattan invincible. His confrontations are not merely displays of overwhelming power. During the Vietnam War in 1971, Dr. Manhattan was directly requested by President Nixon to intervene. His appearance changed the course of events in a short time. Massive armies collapsed in an instant as they were disintegrated at the atomic level. Enormous energy explosions not only destroyed enemies but also instilled symbolic fear. That swift victory allowed America to end the war, yet it also solidified Dr. Manhattan's image as a cold and emotionless war god. When confronting Adrian Veidt, even after being disintegrated by a quantum field generator, Dr. Manhattan immediately reassembled himself and easily overpowered his opponent. However, he did not strike a killing blow, recognizing that Ozymandias's plan had already been completed and World War III had been prevented. In Doomsday Clock, Dr. Manhattan reached a cosmic level of intervention. He manipulated the history of the DC universe, erased 10 years from the timeline, and created and destroyed parallel realities. Icons such as Superman and Firestorm could not rival such power. Even when Ronnie Raymond seemed to destroy him, Dr. Manhattan still existed, quietly steering events according to his will. Dr. Manhattan does not simply defeat his enemies, he transcends the very concept of victory and defeat. He fights like a living law of the universe, where every conflict is merely a small point within the infinite timeline he has seen long before it unfolds. It is that Dr. Manhattan who easily defeated most of the superheroes on Earth. It is Dr. Manhattan who altered the multiverse, and afterward he carried out a complete reset of the entire multiverse.
Please remember to subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, and turn on notifications to watch the newest videos as soon as they are released. Thank you very much.
Now we will talk about Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is the embodiment of terror rooted deep within the human subconscious. Before becoming the nightmare that spreads death, he was Frederick Charles Krueger, a deranged serial killer who targeted children in the town of Springwood in the state of Ohio. After escaping legal punishment due to technical errors, he was captured by enraged parents and burned alive. That death did not end his crimes, but opened a far more horrifying chapter. Freddy's soul was granted dark power by the dream demons, transforming him into the ruler of the dream world. From that unreal realm, Freddy freely bends the rules and creates deaths shaped by his twisted imagination. The most terrifying aspect is that any injury suffered in a dream manifests on the victim's body upon waking, erasing the boundary between nightmare and reality. However, Freddy's power is not absolute. When a victim dares to confront fear and refuses to give him control, he weakens and can be destroyed, even if only briefly. For that reason, Freddy hunts with speed and surprise, striking before his prey realizes that fear is the only source of his existence. This makes Freddy Krueger not merely a monster, but a warning that sometimes the most frightening thing is not hidden in the darkness, but lies deep within each person's own dreams. Freddy Krueger's power is completely tied to the dream world, where he is a ruler who is nearly impossible to defeat. When a victim falls asleep, Freddy enters his domain and turns familiar laws into cruel jokes. He has total control over dreams, warping the environment, constructing illusions born from the deepest fears, or even the fragile hopes of his prey, then slowly crushing them with pleasure. Freddy can change shape at will, transforming into a human, a monster, or even ordinary objects such as a television screen, causing victims to lose their sense of reality. In dreams, he is almost immortal. Any wound is instantly restored, accompanied by physical strength and durability far beyond human limits. Freddy can also move objects with his mind, read and manipulate thoughts, and turn fear into a tool of prolonged psychological torture. One of his darkest sources of power is the ability to absorb souls. Each life taken is not only a victory, but also increases his power. Yet all of that strength clearly diminishes when Freddy is dragged into the real world. There, he is no longer an all-powerful nightmare, but a being who can be injured and defeated. The bloody exploits and confrontations of Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street form a haunting chain of tragedies. Before becoming a demon of the dream realm, Freddy murdered dozens of children on Elm Street. After receiving dark power, he continued to spread terror among innocent teenagers. The deaths of Tina Gray on the ceiling, Rod Lane with an invisible noose, Glenn Lance being pulled into his bed that swallowed him and erupted in blood, and Philip Anderson being turned into a marionette puppet, cemented Freddy's image as a twisted artist of death, who constantly invented cruel methods of killing beyond imagination. His prolonged confrontation with Nancy Thompson was Freddy's greatest challenge. Although he was repeatedly dragged into the real world, burned, and injured, he always returned to hunt relentlessly. Only when Nancy refused to give him her fear did Freddy weaken and suffer temporary defeat, revealing the fatal weakness of the dream demon. Freddy later clashed with Jason Voorhees. He manipulated dreams to control Jason, but was ultimately decapitated in the real world. Even so, his final wink confirmed that Freddy had not truly disappeared. Freddy continued slaughtering the group known as the Dream Warriors, and victims such as Roland Kincaid, Joey Cruzel, and Alice Johnson in increasingly grotesque ways. In total, more than 100 lives have fallen. That chain of exploits speaks not only of power, but also establishes Freddy Krueger as an immortal symbol of fear, where every sleep can become a doorway to inescapable death. In this comparison of power, the outcome is almost decided from the very beginning when Dr. Manhattan stands opposite Freddy Krueger. Freddy is truly dangerous only in dreams, where he exists through fear and the sleeping state of his prey. His power depends entirely on the human mind. In contrast, Dr. Manhattan surpassed the concept of humanity long ago. He does not need to sleep, is not governed by biology, exists at the quantum level, and observes reality as a structure that can be dismantled and reassembled at will. If Freddy attempted to pull Dr. Manhattan into a dream, it would be no different than inviting a god into his fragile playground. With the ability to manipulate reality, time, and matter on a cosmic scale, Dr. Manhattan could destroy the entire dream world, or simply disintegrate Freddy down to the atomic level. The boundary between dream and reality holds no meaning for an entity that perceives every moment simultaneously. Even if Dr. Manhattan chose not to act, Freddy would still be incapable of causing harm. Fear is Freddy's only weapon, but against a cold, emotionless being with no human mind to manipulate, that weapon becomes useless. Dr. Manhattan could eliminate Freddy in any manner he desires, from fire and ice to molten lava, or even treat his destruction as a repeated experiment. Even the ability to resurrect through memory and fear would not save Freddy. Dr. Manhattan could bend reality to erase the very concept of fear associated with him, causing Freddy to vanish from collective consciousness. It may sound harsh, but in this confrontation, Freddy Krueger truly has no chance whatsoever. For that reason, if the confrontation were to occur, it would default to taking place in the real world rather than in the dream realm where Freddy Krueger usually reigns. And once pulled out of the dream world, Freddy immediately loses his greatest advantage. He is no longer an all-powerful demon, but merely a physical entity composed of atoms and molecules. Against a being capable of perceiving and restructuring matter at its most fundamental level, Freddy is no different from an ordinary human. Dr. Manhattan does not need to fight, devise strategy, or even feel emotion. A single thought would be enough to disintegrate Freddy and erase his existence from reality. For Dr. Manhattan, eliminating Freddy carries the same level of difficulty as removing a simple material structure. There is no risk, no surprise, and no possibility of reversal. The most notable aspect is the absolute disparity between them. Freddy represents human fear, while Dr. Manhattan stands beyond all fear. When a being that does not understand fear confronts one who survives solely because of it, the ending is written before the battle even begins. Dr. Manhattan wins.
What do you think about this battle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you all very much.